We're sideways.
I told you to take a picture to check your blocks. So
I laid it on the floor and looked at it. That's what I did.
I'm sure Lynn Noggle did that to hers too.
I bet she did.
We've got our Starlight quilt that we're going to hold up and show you. We haven't taken a picture, so we're not sure all the blocks are in, right? But we're going to show it.
Well, who was the one that found the mistake last week
while we were doing it?
when we were laying it out? Who thought maybe she's watching and we'll see if there's a mistake in it. Is anybody on there yet?
Yeah, we've got some four.
We got some four.
We got some four.
Say hi to us, guys, so we know that we're seeing your comment. Oh, good evening, Nellie.
Oh, Nellie's there?
Nellie's there.
I'm surprised she's still with us. We forgot to send her a surprise box.
Oh, did you?
Again.
Oh, dear.
Oh, telling you.
You're a good woman, Nellie.
Hi, Marcia. Hi, Lynn.
Or the short way? Can't remember. I think
Okay.
that's the short way, I think.
Here's our quilt, everybody. Isn't that gorgeous? Come over my way a little bit.
I can't see because I'm
There
behind
we
it.
go.
There
Isn't that gorgeous?
It's very pretty.
So we just have the border left to do. We're not going to put the border on it because we did do a border video to show you how to put borders on, how to measure, and how to sew it on like an accordion like I do, or you can do it traditionally, however you do
Deb
it.
is thinking she's going to put an extra border, I think, because she wants a
I
really
want a
big,
little bit bigger.
big quilt. So,
Yeah.
hi Nancy, Shirley. We're probably going to miss people if we start saying hi. So this is November the what?
17th?
17th. Our official block that we're working on is part of the Vintage Christmas Sampler.
Just in case anybody wants to know, we do have some of the Starlight patterns in stock. If you want one, I saw people commenting on the post asking where they could get them, so we do have them in stock. I forget the price right off the bat.
Starlight is the name of the quilt we just held
Right,
up.
yes.
Yeah. But tonight, our block of the month that or our sew along that we're working on is the Vintage Christmas Sampler. We have two very easy blocks this week, but before we get into that, we had someone who has asked a few times, and we forgot. Both trips that we told her we would do, she wanted a paper piecing demo. So both trips we told her we'd do it, we totally forgot and didn't do it. So we figure we really should start with that.
So that we don't get sidetracked.
Yeah,
again.
so that's what we're going to start with.
So we're going to put this down a bit.
Yeah, you probably want that. You want that up higher. You don't have it high enough. Right? We always had it higher,
Well,
didn't
it's
we?
right there on the desk if you want to leave it there, but it's up to you.
It's, yeah, but is it showing?
Yep, it will be as
I
soon
don't
as I
think it's
turn
gonna-
it.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, keep one a little bit more.
Yeah, but I want them to see both things.
Yeah, they can see both things right there.
Okay.
We're good.
Enough to really tell what I'm doing? I don't know. See, I like it better when it goes up and over.
Okay, put it
But
up.
we'll see. Which one was it? I
That
can't
one, I
remember.
think.
That one?
Yep. Now there. Now you're too close. Go back.
Yeah, but is it too close if we go down?
Okay. I'll move this
Oh, excuse
so
me.
they don't get. There we go.
Oh, I'm
All
gonna
right.
cough instead, I think. Oh, sorry guys if I do start to cough. Okay, so I wasn't sure exactly what to show for paper piecing because there's different types. There's like paper piecing that is like a whole big pattern that like is a picture,
Yes.
like the whole
Like
center
the
of your
Judy
quilt.
Niemeyer ones.
Right. Or like an animal that is paper piece. Like there's a lot of those type patterns out there. But just to get started, there's tons of these type of papers out there in all kinds of different blocks. There's log cabins. There's
We've got a really nice star one coming out with all the centers different.
right.
So there's a lot.
There's
of
tons
options.
of these, which are kind of a really nice starting point, like to get the basics under your belt before you move on to something more complicated. So we're just going to look at that. The good thing about most of these tablet type is that when you open up your tablet, it tells you right inside the size that you need to cut your pieces of your fabric and how many, like of backgrounds or how many of colors or whatever. So there's no guesswork that you've cut something too small, which sometimes when you're doing like say a big animal portrait or something like that.
Because you're working in reverse.
Because you're working in reverse and there can be some really weird shapes that aren't consistent. It's very easy to misjudge and cut your shapes the wrong size or your fabric the wrong size. So this is a good place to start. So the first thing is some of these type tablets, when you tear out one of your pages, sometimes the page is the complete block like this, but you have to break it into sections. So that's the first thing I would do is I would take my ruler and right here, there's dotted lines that go down the middle. That's where you cut that apart on that dotted line that goes down the middle. So I just put my ruler, and this one doesn't have to be terribly exact because it isn't like your sewing line or anything. You're just breaking these up. So to get the completed square, which you need these 4 pieces. Well, I want to show something on where I've got that one to that size. But anyway, but to get to the completed square, we're going to do it in pieces. So as you can see, there's 4 pieces. They're all the same. The dark is your color. These are background. Or you could do it in reverse if you wanted to have like a colored background and have your star. So this is a really handy tool. This is called an add a quarter plus. There's 2 types of add a quarter. One just has the little lip right there that when you put your fabric, see when I hit there, that ruler won't slide off of it because there's a little lip there. But the add a quarter plus has a bit of a slope on this side. It's beveled. So you can use that and crease these lines. So right where we're going to stitch on that line, we're just going to take a fingernail and give that a crease there. And this doesn't even have to be exact. This is more to get, it's going to be in your seam allowance. So if it's off just a hair there, that doesn't matter. It's you may have like a hair bigger seam allowance or a hair smaller. That's all that's going to amount to. The important thing is when you stitch, you're going to stitch right on the line. But if the fold isn't 100%, that's no big deal. Where's my box? Right?
Yeah.
So if you've never paper pieced before, with something this size, I probably wouldn't even use glue. But if you've never paper pieced before, where was my little fabric swatches I had sitting out? No, they're here. I'll grab them. Yeah, I'll grab these 3. Okay. If you've never paper pieced before, this could be handy for you to use just a glue stick or whatever to hold it in place. I prefer a glue stick if you are going to do anything as opposed to pins because pins are bulky, whatever. So the way that I remember is that the very first piece that you put to your paper, they go wrong side together. After that, everything goes right sides together. So just remember that your first step goes wrong sides together. So by wrong sides, obviously you know what the wrong side of your fabric is, and you're going to put that on the bottom with the wrong side up. The right side of your paper is the side that has the printing on it. And then you're going to put wrong sides together. So as long as your fabric underneath covers that dark area, you're fine. So I would just put a little bit of glue in the center where you're not going to stitch and put that down. So the next thing, where you folded that back, you take your add a quarter, but if you don't have an add a quarter, you can use any ruler and just put your 1/4 inch mark on the edge of that fold and trim that. But that's where the add a quarter comes in really handy because of that lip. When you put that there, it snugs right against the edge of that and it doesn't slip. And then you're just going to cut that off, and that's your seam allowance. So now, what did I say the next part was? The next part, from here on out, right sides go together. So, I cut the wrong side, of course, because this says number 2, but on this particular pattern, it wouldn't matter because it's mirror image. It's fine. I guess I did enough there. So, right sides together now. So now your fabric goes right side up because that's the right side. Now, this is the key piece, not necessarily with these, because this one, whoops, this one, see? Now this is where you're automatically going to think that this goes this way, but it doesn't, because when you fold this back, do you see, and you line up those edges, if you were to stitch there, do you see how this white piece is off of the fabric? So when you go to flip that fabric up, that's not going to be big enough.
No.
So when this is folded down, your fabric underneath that you're adding has to be underneath that whole thing. So this one is actually going to go this way. And you want all of your block to be on that fabric. And it is, because that is out past your seam allowance, but we can go this way a little bit. So there you go. So there's your seam allowance. All of this piece that's flipped down is on top of this bottom piece. So it's going to fit when we flip this up and flip the bottom up after we sew it. It's going to be all covered.
You gonna sew?
Well, we got to, don't we? Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's perfect or not. Okay, so the next thing is I always shorten my stitch length. I go very short because it makes it much easier to tear the paper and it keeps your seams from, oh man, she did shorten the stitch.
You told me to.
I did, but I
do
didn't.
exactly what you tell me to do.
So, once that is done, you're gonna flip it over. Now you can get your iron out. The only thing I recommend is if you're gonna use your iron, don't use steam because it makes your paper all wonky. But we can just finger press it. And if you look, all of our paper underneath is covered because we put that the right way. Now, if you mind that flopping, you can put a little gob of glue there. Because now we're gonna do the other side. So, again, fold this down. We're gonna take our add a quarter, which this is the one I cut too early. I shouldn't have cut it till now. So we're gonna let that little lip butt up against it, or use your ruler with your 1/4 inch seam. Cut that across. Now remember, every step from here on out, right sides go together. So there's the right side of your fabric. We want it against the right side of this fabric. We've got to put it this way because that's the only way that all of the white paper is on top of this bottom fabric. If we go this way and line up our seam allowance, our tip is hanging off of the paper, and when we go to flip it up, we're going to be short fabric. So always make sure that when this is flipped back, that it's totally covering, all fitting on the paper. So we're going to put that there, and every part of our paper has fabric under it. Is there any questions so far?
No.
Is it clear as mud?
Everybody's saying hi, but no questions.
Okay. So now we're going to stitch right on that line. Boy, she did shorten that. It's like, holy moly. So now we can flip it over, give it a finger press, and again, all of it is covered with that fabric. So now, when we flip this over, most of these type papers tell you where you can trim your first line. This is a final trim line, so I wouldn't trim there yet. I would just trim out here to get rid of all this excess fabric. So you
And some people do a top stitch basting around it.
You
on the
do.
machine.
You do. If it's a big piece, I do, but on these, I don't. So now here, if you guys aren't going to be able to read the writing, but it tells you that there is, that dotted line that we cut on was just to cut the paper apart. It had nothing to do with the seam allowance. There is a line here that says your first trim line. And then from that line to that, that's your stitch line. So that's your 1/4 inch seam. So we can trim right along there. And I can't see. So get rid of that and get rid of that. Because there's another line there that says first trim line. So there's your piece.
Would you trim along the bottom too?
I don't at that point because that's not, you can trim right there if you want to. So you stitch, don't you?
I stitch.
So you tell them what you mean. Where would you stitch?
So if I was going to stitch this just so that this doesn't be floppy at all, I just find if I baste it in between my sew line and my cut line, it's along, I'll show you what I do.
The reason I don't do that is I find that
It's harder to
get your paper off because you have
It
two
is.
stitch lines close together. So you're almost fiddling to get that little
Yeah.
piece of paper in between.
But, yeah, I would just baste between those.
So if you find that that's the case, that's where using your little glue stick really comes in handy. Because as long as you put a dab of glue out in each one of these corners, that fabric isn't going to flop
Yeah.
around.
I just find it's,
Yeah.
that's just a preference.
So now the rule of thumb is that you don't take your paper off until
You sew it to
until
the
you
next
sew
piece.
it to the next piece. So, because you want that stability there or whatever.
And everybody does things a little
So
bit
hand me
different.
those two pieces that's in the box. So I just want to show you that on these two pieces, I've joined two together, but on these, on the back, if there's any place to match, and most patterns have the mark somewhere if there's something that's supposed to match up. There's a dot right there that when you put it against this paper, there's a dot on this side and a dot on that side that when you stick your pin through, that's what's going to give you the perfect.
Do you do that?
I would, yes. You probably wouldn't. Would you?
Not really, because you've got an exact cut right on the corner.
Well, you do if it's exact. So that's the one thing about paper piecing is paper piecing is only as exact
As you
as
stitch
you
line.
stitch line and your cuts.
Right.
If you cut your paper wonky, or if you cut your stitch, or you stitch wonky, it's going to be
off.
just as off as if you weren't using it. So the other thing I wanted to show you is that before I sew these two pieces together, because this is two of those units that we've sewn across, I have taken the paper off of those two seam allowances before I sew it to this. And the reason I do that is because I find once you stitch across here,
It's hard to get
it's
all
hard to get all that paper out. So I always take that out before I start stitching. So then the only other thing you're going to do is you're going to match your pin there and match your pin over there, and then you're going to just line things up and stitch. But I also want to show you in the box,
in the box.
the reason I dislike paper piecing so much is
like it.
I dislike paper piecing. It's the friggin' papers. I can't stand the friggin' papers. This thing right here is a water pen. You fill it with water. And if you have a stubborn piece that you can't get out, like that's stuck somewhere, if you take that tip and just wet along your thing, it will like soften the paper and you can get it up really easy. So this, and it doesn't, other than investing in your pen, it's water.
Right.
So it's not going to add a lot of cost to your, so those are easy to come across. Deb can order them in.
Yep.
But it makes taking your paper off much easier, especially when you get some seams sewn together and you've got like layers, like in a little corner, like in a juncture or whatever. This works really good. In the past, before I had this, I've actually used Q-tips. I've just kept a little cap full of water and dipped my Q-tip in and then dotted it on. So are there any questions?
Just look back, and I haven't seen any questions.
Okay. So that's where I would start. I would start with the basics and start with a simple thing till you feel comfortable with your paper piecing. The important step is at first I found it confusing how you started. So my mantra that I say in my head, because even though I've done it a lot now, is your first step on your first piece of fabric is always wrong
Round
sides
sides
together. Then after that, every step on that piece is right sides together, and that will keep you straight. So if there's no questions,
Hopefully, Kathy, that makes it clear to you.
I hope so. Anyway, but some of these little, like there's even simple, I just brought one of these. Like if you want to try something really simple, like you don't have to sew together, like there's the
Fine.
half square triangle paper. There's the flying geese paper. Like any of these will get you feeling comfortable
Except
with
what
paper
I find
piecing.
with these little ones is there's not enough repetition of doing it. Like you do,
Right.
I think a bigger block, it's more repetitive and it
Right.
sticks with
So
your
like
head
with
longer.
this, you've got 4 pieces
Right.
to get a block, and then you've got to match up points because those are the points that you want to match up. You've got color, meeting color. So that's why there's those dots there, right?
Okay, Kathy says it's easier now that she can see it. I'm a
Okay.
visual person too.
Anyway, that's that. So now let's move on to the next thing. But I definitely, if you're going to paper piece, this is one of the best things to have. I love this for taking the paper off. But shorten your stitch length. If you go with the normal stitch length, your paper is much harder to take off. And,
If Stacy's watching tonight, Stacy, thank you for cleaning up over
oh,
here.
Stacy's tip for paper piecing
Is
is, for making it easy, is before he starts sewing any paper on, any fabric on,
Right.
he unthreads his machine and he just runs his machine with a normal stitch length, I think,
Right.
across the stitch lines to perforate it. It won't tear it apart. You'll still be able to paper piece with it. But then by the time you stitch over the top of it with
It comes
actual
off
stitches,
easier.
it comes off easier because you've sort of double stitched it. So that was Stacy's tip that he did, is he stitched along those
I
first.
think I said Stacy's.
Yes, yes, because that was really, I had never thought of that, and that was a really good tip. Okay,
I'll take that ruler home. So
that is my ruler. Yes, I'm taking it home. Woman. You guys had any
I have to
idea how much
watch
stuff
that.
I've lost and have to track down the next week. Okay, so now, this week we said we were going to, we were doing
A square and a square.
page 4, because there were some squares in the squares that we had to do, which is very simple. But then page 5, they have these candy. They look like candies, like peppermint twists
That's what
or
they're supposed to
something.
look like.
But because they have the little piece right there, it makes it look more like a round candy. So we decided that where we don't want Christmas blocks, we were just going to leave ours without putting the corners, and it does make them not look like a Christmas block.
So that's what they look like.
So that's what they look like. It's just like a, what do you call it?
Pinwheel.
A pinwheel on
On
point,
point.
is all that is, right?
Yeah.
So Deb's going to sew one of those.
Yes, Sherry, you can only use the paper piecing paper once. Once you tear it off, it's garbage. So if you have a photocopier machine, you can make some copies ahead of time, but make sure you compare them because photocopiers are sometimes distorted a little bit. So sometimes
And
photo-
buy cheap photocopy paper. And
At Sta-
actually, you
at
can buy
Staples.
newsprint.
at Staples.
Yeah.
That's the cheapest place to get it.
It is.
If
Or-
I buy a package, it's like crazy expensive.
Yeah, but like don't go with a high quality because it's stiffer, it's thicker, and it's harder to tear off. Go with the thinnest you can find, and newsprint works really well. And you can actually get newsprint in bulk, like on Amazon and places like that. Maybe to Staples too, right? Like with 500 in a pack, and they photocopy fine.
So that quilt behind us is called Brightly.
And that was just a
Scrap.
petite, scrappy
The
petite.
scrappy petite.
Yeah. Okay, so we're just gonna whip up the. So we cheated, or I cheated. To make it, you're gonna need 4 half square triangles. So I already sewed your typical, draw your line down the middle and sew your seam 1/4 inch each way. So cut that in half.
Cottage.
Yep. Now, in the pattern, it does say that you can square these down. I didn't find that there was much that you needed to square down, but you can sew them together first, and then it gives you the measurements to square down your final pinwheel. So I would just do that. I would sew them together like that, and then trim it down. And then there's just 4 triangles we're going to add to the corners to box it in, to make it like a square and a square.
So I'm
only it's
just
a
making-
pinwheel in a square.
I'm just making a pinwheel here, right?
You are. So I always put the
Right there.
that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way.
Yeah.
That
So
way.
in case you wonder why I said that, if you're putting all your pinwheels in the same quilt, you sometimes, if you have like a more patterned and like what reads more as a plain, you could have your pinwheel go in 2 directions. You could have it this way, which gives it a different look if you go that way around. So all the ones I did it this way. So then they'll look more uniform in the.
So I'm just going to take a 1/4 inch seam down the side.
And this one isn't as important because we can square up the final block to the size that we need.
So we're going to butt the seams together and sew a 1/4 inch down there.
Except we probably don't have a little ruler to square up, do we? Do we have a big ruler?
We've been over here cutting. and packaging Christmas stockings.
Oh,
Everything's got put away. So here we have a pinwheel. We're gonna put them together like this, but one seam going one way and one going another way. Is there one on the back of the Donna's long arm? And there we go.
Let me just measure. It's a bit big.
So we can take Acorn Precision Piecing Liquid and
Oh, there's one here that's in a package, but we should be able to use it enough to print down the side, right?
so then you're gonna have to make me give somebody a discount because it's used.
No, it's in a package. You're not gonna cut the package, are you?
You might. Don't matter. Let's use it. Okay, so what do we want this to measure?
We can't say.
it.
So let's pull over here.
We're gonna square it down to the size we need it.
Actually, that side, well, no, it's a little.
If you buy a ruler in the next week and the package is
You'll know what happened. It's glaring off my glasses. There we go. It might have helped if it was pressed.
That sounded like you were growling that.
No, I'm not really. It'll be fine. Right? It'll be fine.
It will be fine.
I don't want to slice down that side because it's going to cut the paper. Right?
Right.
And then you will have to give a discount. Right?
Right. Right, Mom?
Right, Mom. So if you had squared up your half square triangles first, you wouldn't have to do this.
So she's squaring it up.
The hard way because there's no, I don't want to cut that cellophane that's sticking out on the side. We're a little short on that side, but you're just going to fudge that, right?
Okay.
So there's our thingamabobbers.
So we have a pineapple. A pineapple.
A pineapple.
A pinwheel. There's the pinwheel. And you want me to make this a block?
You're doing a square and a square.
Okay.
There's a pinwheel and a square.
So I'm going to take half of this.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And I'm going to fold it right there to find my center. And then I'm going to put that center right on my point where my seams meet. So I know that I'm
I don't see
exactly in the
comments
middle.
on here.
No, I have to look up here.
Was there any questions?
Do we have any suggestions to square up a square in a square block? Do you have any suggestions?
A square and a square block. Yes, I do. But it's hard for me to show you because we're not supposed to be giving you things. I can tell you.
So I've got one side on, and I'm going to put the other side on like this. And I'm going to go do this side just like this. That's going to overhang 1/4 of an inch just like that. If it didn't overhang, we'd be in trouble. It needs to overhang. And we're going to do the same thing on all 4 sides. So what were you going to say, Joanna? Sorry.
Well, do that and then I'll go in the screen and explain how I would do it and see if you agree with me.
I never agree with you.
I know, right?
Are you going to tell them what we were over there picking fabric for?
Oh, yeah, that's what we were doing. We were picking fabric for the nautical sew-along.
So remember, in the new year, all our sew-alongs are going to be on YouTube, not here.
On the red zone.
On the red zone. And and so we have the bloom that's starting in January. We have a mystery that's starting in January, and we have a nautical starting in January. So, because there's so many people that, number 1, don't want to do an applique, or number 2, don't like a mystery, or number 3, they just really want a nautical, or they don't like a nautical, whatever.
Kendra wants to know how you changed your foot so fast. You have to show.
I have a quick release.
It's a special thing you can buy. I don't think all machines have them. Like these industrials, you can get them for these Juki industrials.
Yeah.
or these
I think
industrials
she
take
has an
key
industrial
cards.
myself.
And it's called a quick change.
And we bought it from Amazon. No?
Or was it Juki Junkies?
I can't remember.
I can't
Yeah, it might
remember
have been.
where it was. I could
So
probably
that's
find
your
it.
block, and then you just have to square it up to the size that they require in the book.
Mhm.
Yes, Judy, Twyla would do the opposite sides first.
Yes, I would. Deb goes around. I do opposite sides. That's just.
The way we do it.
There's no right or wrong. There really
It all
isn't.
works out completely.
It does.
So Peggy Abbott says hints. So let me scroll back and see.
Yes.
She has.
Is she the one who asked?
No, Suzanne wants to know any suggestions to square up a square
Okay.
block.
So this is what I would do.
I'll let you switch.
That point
Oh, okay.
and that point and this should be halfway across the width of your block.
Right.
So whatever size, say you were going to square this up to 4.5 inches. Half of 4.5 would be 2.25.
So put your ruler
So
on
put
there.
your ruler so that the 2.25 inch mark is hitting those 2 points, and then your 2.25 this way is hitting those 2 points. And you're only going to probably be able to get like two sides at a time or whatever.
Sorry, I was trying to
If you had a ruler that was the exact size you were squaring up to, all you need to do is know what half of your measurement is and make sure that those 4 points are half of the measurement each side, and then that would make it square.
You really want to have your 1/4 inch on either side so you don't cut your tips off. If you have to fudge it so that it's off a little bit in some patterns, I would rather be off a little bit and not be cutting my points, because I think missing points stand out more than.
Yeah. So when you've got your ruler on there, you can see whether you've got your 1/4 inch
Right.
there or not. And if it looks like it's going to be, like if these are off a bit, your points that you're squaring up by, and it doesn't give you your 1/4 inch here, it might be better if your square was a little off center and you had that would probably be less noticeable
Right.
than having no points on one side of your square, right? But that's all I would do. If I had known that you guys were going to ask that, I would have had some here in the ruler
Peggy
that we
says
could show you.
hints for the sew along. Oh,
Which
for the
sew along?
nautical.
The nautical? Well, let me tell you, Peggy, we're kind of just wigging it, and we're just
Every time we go to get live, now I think of Debbie Hill, because she says, "What are you going to do? What are you going to say?
What are we gonna
you
talk
gonna
about?"
prepare?" And that's just like us with the sew along. We have a sketch. We have an idea in our head, but
now it's not to scale. It's very rough. It's very. I should show them.
are you going to give them that much of a hint?
No, I just want it. I don't know where it is. I just don't know if they can see. This is our sew along. Aren't you impressed? Like right here.
That's our
Bloop.
sew
That's
along.
our sew along. Bloop. That's my
all we
pattern.
got.
How does that jive?
All I know is we're making 2 of these at once because I like it that much.
Well,
I
got to start doing blocks, and this is one of these things. It is. I start doing blocks.
We kind of critique it.
We do,
And
and
switch
we may
it.
come to a point where we don't like it, and we have to switch out our plan. We don't
Yeah.
know, or we might have to switch out a fabric. Or
But by the time the new year gets here and then the sew along starts, we will have our ducks in a row.
so I'm cutting fabric tonight to take home to start. So we shall see how it goes.
So that's your hint, Peggy. We're winging it.
We are winging it.
It's going to be our own design, although some of them are free patterns that you can download.
Which they've got to be, because it's either stuff like for us to share with you. We can't share
Unless it's
purchased patterns, right? So that makes it easy if we can find patterns
And we're
for
trying
certain
to,
blocks.
because we've done so many sew-alongs that are expensive patterns, we try to slip in one there that's a little bit cost effective. So typically, there's nothing to purchase with this if you want to use your scraps.
Right.
Because there's no pattern, there's no fabric, but there will be kits available. We are
There will
keeping
be.
track of what we're
And
cutting.
as I do my blocks, I'll
Yeah.
keep track so that we can give you a rough idea what you're going to need for fabrics, right? So
Yeah, Sherry, we did mention the Bloom So Long that it starts in January.
it does.
Yeah. We will be sending those blocks out monthly. You cannot purchase it all at once. It will just be released each month.
Mm-hmm.
The mystery sew along that we're doing, if you want a kit, that will be shipped out all at once.
There'll be more revealed about the mystery.
On January, the very first week in January.
Mhm.
So are
It
there,
won't be a mystery for the whole thing. Like, it's just a mystery now.
right.
Yeah.
What are we going to do on the Monday nights you're not on?
We're always on.
Well,
What
sometime
Monday
over
night?
Christmas time. We had said that we might do
Oh,
this in
right.
a couple of
Well, when is, what day's Christmas on this year, guys?
Wednesday, I think.
Wednesday?
Pretty sure. Janine was saying. Yeah, well, you know what? That is not a quilt bet. That is a panel. That's one of those things that you can pre-buy as a panel to promote the fabric. We can order them and get them in
But is
before the
that not
fabric comes in.
Is that not the pattern that Art East did?
Yeah, but that's a panel.
Yes, but there is a pattern.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sherry's very, very new.
Thursday is Christmas Day.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know which Monday night were you thinking?
I don't know, but we
The
had
one
said if
after
these
Christmas?
finish before Christmas,
Yes, we're
we're
not
starting
yes,
anymore.
Yeah, we won't
But it's
start
up in
anything
the
over Christmas.
it's up in the air.
We may have something that we want to just talk about or
share.
something like that, but
Mhm.
we'll see. We're going to be probably a couple more weeks on this Christmas one.
Yeah. I have to apologize. Not everybody's stocking went out today. Not everybody got invoiced today, and not every message got answered today. We had so many parcels out there today that Campar couldn't fit them all in the trucks.
So
And
there's
we
still a
had
pile in the middle of
UPS,
the
we
floor.
had Purelator, we had FedEx, we had Canada Post, and Campar. And Campar couldn't get everything in their. That's how busy we were this weekend. And so I apologize. We still have another full truckload for Campar, and still everybody is not filled. So we are getting to you. If you haven't gotten an invoice, don't feel that we have left you out. If we've made a mistake, like on Nellie Van, just be patient with us, because it's been very confusing and time consuming, and because we brought in extra staff to work this weekend, and that's a big help, but that's also a detriment because we don't know what the other one's doing sometimes. But anyway, so we apologize, but things are going out as quickly as we can.
I'm just looking through to see what we're doing next week.
Yeah.
So what we have left is, we did those. Don't know, I've gotta double check, see, we combined some blocks.
Yeah.
When we did, and we might have done, like, we didn't do the candy, but it might have been part of one.
One of the other ones.
The other ones, like, they might have went on the bottom of that. We've gotta do this one, we haven't
Let's
done
do
that.
that one this week. Let's do that.
So we're gonna do page 19. So now what I wanna tell you, I just wanna look at something first before I tell you this.
And part of the reason that we were so frigged up this weekend is because some people hadn't paid their previous invoices. So when we went to put the deposit for their boxes on their invoice, the computer automatically put the deposit on their invoice that had not been paid. And so that got a little confusing. That slowed us down a little bit. So if you have an invoice that isn't paid, please pay them up as soon as you can, just so that we can get things speeded up.
Do you know what? I think we're pretty much done.
We're getting pretty close.
Well, these are the sections, putting the sections
Yeah.
together. So what I wanted to tell you is in these, so there's this part here
that we're doing
and this part here that we're
next
doing.
week.
But you need to check. Remember a while ago, we had some half square triangles left over from something.
Mm-hmm.
And if you save your half square triangles from this week, from the square and a square, I've got a feeling that those are going to be able to be trimmed down to the right measurement for these half square triangles, and you might not even have to make any half square triangles if you're good with going with a scrappy that's left over from your. So pull those out and check them and see if you can get the right, the
Before you
correct
go ahead and
measurement
cut
before
the
you
fabric.
cut more fabric, because you might be able to use them. So save those.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. Page 19. We're gonna do those fillers. Right? That have the half square triangles with them. And then I think after that we're gonna start putting sections together.
We are. It's
Mhm.
going to be nice to see it all come together.
It will be. It will be.
So, does anybody have any questions? We are very anxious to reveal the next block of the month.
Mm-hmm. It'll be fun. And we haven't decided like what week of the month will be which sew along.
But we will post it.
We'll post all that and we'll have all of that announced. And it may not be like the very first week of January that we're ready to start. It may be like the second week, depending on how things,
Yeah.
right? So, anyway, it's gonna be fun. New year, new projects, right?
New beginnings.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, guys, have a great week. I don't see any other questions.
We're going over to cut nautical fabric.
Yep, we gotta go cut some nautical fabric for me to take home, so I can start experimenting.
Okay, did you say the block of the month of June? It is what there's. I'll just go over it again. We have three. We have three sew-alongs starting in the new year. The first one is the Bloom, which is Lori Holt fabric. That's going to be applique. We have the nautical, and we also have the mystery one that we cannot show you, but we will be showing you the completed quilt the first week of January.
It won't be a mystery. Like you haven't got to go into it as a mystery.
Once we reveal it, we will be revealing the whole quilt in January.
Yeah.
And if you want kits for that, there will be 3 colorway options. Or if you want to use your scraps, there will be a pattern for sale for you to buy.
Okay.
What fabric are we using for Bloom? It is Lori Holt.
Yes. That doesn't mean you have to do it. Like if you want to have the templates, because there is the option of purchasing the templates and doing it out of your scraps if you don't want to do it as a block of the month. If you just want to follow along.
Beth wants to know if it's raw edge applique.
You can do either.
Yes.
You have the choice. I will be showing the Lori Holt method because that's what I prefer, but we will also we'll demo a week of, that Deb will show how to do the raw edge applique because that's typically what she does. She doesn't do the sew in, and I do applique for her that way, but for myself, I usually don't do raw edge. So you will have the choice. The pattern can be done either way. So that would be the difference is what you buy, whether you buy the sew-in interfacing to use or whether you buy like Steam a Seam or Wonder Under or that type of thing.
So people have pre-ordered their kits and made their deposit. So your deposit has reserved your kit. So we are going ahead to cut the kits. We are cutting well over 50 kits.
Yeah.
But we do need to know if anybody wants a kit, because once we cut the kits, we're not going back to cut more kits. We will cut a couple of extra kits, but it's a big deal to cut all these kits. And so once they're cut, they're cut. So think about it. No pressure. If you don't want it, that's perfectly fine. You cut from your stash.
This is also the type that you could work from your stash. Yeah. This is also the type that you could start with a fat quarter bundle.
Easily.
Right?
Yeah.
You could easily, and it does not have to be Lori Holt. It could be any type of fabric you want it to be.
So the kits, what did we figure out? Were $30 deposit, but were they $25 a month for?
Was it?
I don't think it's $30 a month. And that does not include the shipping or the tax, but they will ship in an envelope.
It was a $30 deposit. I'm thinking it was $25 a month, but don't quote me on that. I'd have to.
It's no more than 30.
Yeah, it's not, and we'd have to look back. I don't have that.
Sherry wants to know which one is going to be easier for newbie.
What type of applique?
Which quilt? Which one of the
or
three?
Or which quilt?
Oh.
Or do you mean which type of applique?
Yeah, what are you asking, Sherry? Is it all applique the entire? No, there is piecing, Nancy. There's some piecing in the Bloom.
Not a lot, like
No.
sashing and borders, that type of thing.
But if you Google Lori Holt Bloom,
Yeah,
you will see a
the
picture of it.
quilt. Yeah, I don't think I have.
If you like handwork, if you don't mind handwork, what Twyla's doing is easy. If you don't like handwork, my
Handwork
way is
she doesn't mean that you're sewing by hand. You have to sew it on the machine and then you turn it and
there's no
poke
raw
the
edge.
points out. There's no raw edge, and then you applique it on.
If you want to do it by hand appliquing, you can do that.
This particular quilt, if you've never done the sew-in type, this is a good one to start on. The pieces are not that complicated. Like some of her quilts have a lot of friggy points,
yeah.
and this is a very basic, which is why we started with this one, because if you've never done one, it's a good beginner one to tackle. It
Yeah.
really is.
So, is there any other questions about any of the sew-alongs? The sew-along pattern for what we're going to reveal in January is $35.
So that one, we can't like talk about measurements and stuff as we sew it. This one is free. All measurements can be given. I
For
can
the
go
bloom.
in for the bloom, and the nautical one we'll be able to discuss everything. Like we'll be able to show everything. Yeah.
The templates for the bloom are like $55.
Yeah.
Sherry just said which quilt. I don't know what that question means, Sherry.
Which quilt would be the? Wasn't she the one? who
Oh,
asked
which quilt
one
was the easiest? I would say the mystery block of the month.
Yeah, I think that's pretty basic.
It's pretty basic,
But it's pretty.
It's pretty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That would be my choice.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Is that it, guys?
We will see you back here next Monday night.
Yeah. And it isn't. We're doing nautical. But we're doing. Oh my word! I'm on a nautical kick tonight. We're doing the vintage block. Yeah.
Keep in mind, we do have the craft fair that's going on in our
What's that
quilt
date?
room, the 29th of November, the Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
as well as that craft fair going on for in-store shoppers only. We have 15% off store-wide. I was
Nice.
telling Twyla tonight that we are technically an online shop with the ability just to walk in our store because most of our work is done online.
Yeah.
But we are going to put an in-store sale on for people that want to come in and shop that day.
Mm-hmm. Okay, guys. Have a great week.
Bye-bye.
Everybody get busy Christmas shopping and decorating. This is exciting. I love
We've got our
Christmas.
windows decorated. We should have showed you.
Okay.
There.
Good night.
Goodbye.